it's Carrie here, and it's another Happy Body session. These are new-ish. They've been around in various forms. So, a Happy Body session is like my little experiment in coming back to myself. It's part of this project I'm doing called Body of Work, where I share with you all of the tips and all of the tools over my 2 decades of being a massage therapist. Very happy to be here today. I think we're going to be doing something which is, well, I know it's super important. The other thing is the guy who looks after our corridor is out there and he's singing, and it is beautiful. Oh, joyful, beautiful. We love it. So good. Okay. And that's what we want here. We want to be bringing in the joy, finding the joy, allowing ourselves to be in our bodies, because when we're in our bodies, we get to be our creative best. Even if our creative best looks and horrible and terrible and the worst, it's allowing our brains to process and to tick over information and to create new possibilities and new realms. And self-care and creativity go together in such a beautiful way. And to be honest, right now, I feel very strongly that self-care is an act of revolution. Like, the world just seems to be, and we're not going to talk about that. But when we come to a place where we nourish ourselves, where we learn what we need, where we learn who we are, where we learn where the good bits are and where the sticky bits are, we can come home to ourselves. And that's just really, really exciting. Okay. It's half 8 in the morning and I'm swearing already. Okay. One of the keystones, I feel, the keystones of being a creative human is about coming to know our nervous systems, coming to know what excites us, what stresses us, what those conversations are, what those nuances are, those like little what that awful term microaggressions are. What are the things that make us feel safe? What are the things that make us feel threatened? And the brain's a really interesting thing. So we are like living in these sophisticated societies. There is new technology and there is, discourse and discussion and debate. We come across as being really put together human beings. Like, even when we don't like how other people are put together, they're still, it's a sophisticated thing, being human. But at the base level of who we are, there is the limbic system. And the limbic system, which is this kind of combination of, the old brainstem, the medulla oblongata, and the amygdala, they're really, really old school. Like, so old school that it wasn't even school when they were old. They're so old. So it dates back to like our reptilian brain. It's like the first part of our survival system. And even though we live sophisticated modern lives, this reptilian brain is still in charge of how we feel when we are stressed. And when we are stressed, we go straight back into that fight or flight. Now, that was okay when we had like big life-threatening stressors like earthquakes or landslides or volcano eruptions or saber-toothed tigers. And I often refer to your nervous system as thinking that everything is this saber-toothed tiger. Like, our body was responding on a survival level, and it was appropriate, for want of a better word. But now that old bit of our brain is still responding as though everything is a saber-toothed tiger, even though it might be an email that we don't like, or an altercation in the supermarket car park, or getting caught in a traffic jam, being late for school pickup. Our body still responds in the same way. And one of the quickest ways to get from that place of stress back to a place of calm is through our breath work. And I'm going to go through some of that with you today. Now, when we're in that state of stress, and so many of us are constantly because we're not processing what's going on, we see the world in a very different way. We see the world in a way which is far more, far more negative. We perceive neutrality and neutral faces as being threatening. We aren't able to make such rounded decisions. And partially that's because we are going into this real peripheral world. We kind of go, and this is on a physiological basis, we go tunnel visioned and we knock out quite a lot of the peripheral sound around us. We get really focused on what the stressor is. And by coming back into a state of calm, we allow ourselves to open back up to all the possibilities. And that's reflected in our decision-making processes as well. The breath is key to this because the breath stimulates a nerve called the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is cranial nerve 10. It plays nicely with other nerves such as cranial nerve 5 and cranial nerve 7, which are to do with the auditory and visual systems. But it's the one that goes, there's a saber-toothed tiger. Oh my God. And it's the one that goes, dude, we're good. We're calm. In fact, even more so than going, there's a saber-toothed tiger. Oh, we're going to have battery issues today. Even more than having that kind of saber-toothed tiger moment, it is the one that goes, no, we're good. We're safe. We're safe. We're safe. Everything's cool. So when we can harness that relationship with the vagus nerve, when we can allow ourselves to drop back into the breath, which drops us back into our bodies, which drops us out of overthinking, then we can start making clearer decisions and we can start assessing situations for what they truly are. You will notice as we go through these sessions that there are points where I go, and you will hopefully recognize as we go through these little kind of like body sessions that you too find that place where you go. And that is your body responding on a vagus nerve level to recognizing that there is no threat, that you are safe, that you can open up the channels of possibility and creativity again. How cool is that? And we can do that with our breath. Now, at some other point, I'm going to come back to talking about why breathing in your nose, in and out through your nose, is way more effective. I don't know how to describe it for you than breathing in and through your mouth. But right now, in the here and now, I don't care if you breathe in through your nose, in through your mouth. Just get the breath in. We're going to have to cough. Excuse me. So the vagus nerve, it wanders down through your face, through your shoulders, through your ribcage, and it ends up around this section of your body here. So here you have a muscle called your diaphragm, and the job of the diaphragm is to bring air into your lungs. It's basically a bellows. So it starts off as a shallow bowl and it ends up as a deep soup dish. And in that action of shallow bowl to deep soup dish, you're drawing more air down more deeply into the lungs. And that's a good thing. What it's also doing is this action is massaging the vagus nerve. And that's sending information back to your head, back to your brain to tell you that you are safe, everything's cool. And we can massage our vagus nerve better when we stop breathing up here, which is a stress response. When we think we might die, we don't have to think about nice deep breathing. We literally want to get the air in and out of our bodies as quickly as possible so that our legs can do the running, our brains can do the strategy, that we are pumping with our hearts to give us the cardio. So it's kind of like a stress response to shut down all those unnecessary things like, libido and digestion and feeling the ends of your fingertips, which will come back into play and into possibility when we're in this place where we feel good again. So by breathing down here, so this is like a shallow breath. You can see that it's just like this top hand is going up and down. But when we breathe down into our bellies, so we use this shallow bowl to deep bowl situation with diaphragm. You can feel instantly, if you're focusing on it, that is a more intentional place to breathe. It's almost like from breathing into your belly, you can feel the rest of your body. Now, that can take some practice as well, especially if we have been stuck in like a high chest breath for a long time. And when I'm talking about this kind of breathing, diaphragm breathing, belly breathing, it isn't that you're not going to use up here as well. It isn't that you're not going to create some kind of arch in your spine. That's a great thing. But it's just that by breathing deeper, we ground the body, we massage the vagus nerve, we give all those signals that everything's cool, everything's okay, and that allows us to drop back into the nervous system. When we are stuck in a stress response, where we think about it being like the stimuli and then the response. See the saber-toothed tiger, we run the fuck away. You see the big bear, we lie in the background and play dead. We get the stressful email, we delegate it to somebody else and hope they deal with the problem. But there's a third part of the stress cycle that we often miss. And it's this third part, which is about regulation. It's about processing. It's about allowing the body to come back to a state of calm. This third stage is the part that we miss most often in our like modern frantic societies. We only allow ourselves to do stress, response, stress, response. And this section is really where the well-being and the health lies. This is going to burn you out. Stage 1, stage 2, going to burn you out. Stage 3 is going to bring you back to yourself. It's going to bring you back to your creative best. It's going to allow you to connect with people on a deeper level. It's going to allow you to heal the old rifts and the old wounds. It's fucking important. And that is why when I talk about self-care as being an act of rebellion, an act of revolution, it's because this stage 3, is the bit where we come back to ourselves. And when we're living in stress, we're living to somebody else's orders. And when we're living in calm, we're responding to our own intuition. We're responding to our own sense of connectedness to ourselves and to each other, which is really fucking cool. All right. So we're going to take a few minutes just to do the belly breath. And hopefully it's going to set us all up for a lovely day. It will. See, my brain just went to, and I have 14% battery because my teenager ran off with my phone this morning. See, it's a stress. It's just it means nothing. So this belly breathing is going to get us all feeling like the world is a sweeter, calmer, nicer place. Cool. Facts. Find a space where you can settle with your feet on the ground. Uncross your legs. Just be aware of how you feel in your body. Where does it feel tight? Where does it feel sticky? How well did you sleep last night? How does your neck feel? How does your vision feel? Okay, so you're going to place one hand on your chest and you're going to place one hand on your belly. First up, let's just see if you can breathe down here into your belly. What I'd like you to visualize is really see that breath as an energy or as a wind, and see as you breathe in, imagine it kind of like flowing down through here. You know, when you see like ads for Reddy's, Pepto-Bismol, and there's that antacid ones, and you see that kind of like soothing line. They always show like a body with a soothing line. And imagine that. So there is a soothing line of breath and it's coming all the way down here into your belly. And as your belly opens up for the breath, as you breathe down, and it's like this kind of expansion. Imagine that expansion happening in 3 directions, all directions, 360 degrees, that this breath is filling you entirely and completely. Okay? That's a lot of words, sorry. And then just let the breath slump out of yourself. So you're filling up as you breathe in like a barrel. And you just poof, letting that breath go. Now, if you're struggling to get the breath down here, if you feel like this hand is moving and this hand isn't, I'm going to get you to do a thing. So you're just going to take your fingertips and this bony bit here, your sternum where the ribs join, you're just going to rub here, or you can tap, whatever feels good to you. Oh, and anywhere which feels tight or icky, you're just going to spend a little moment longer and just give it a wee bit more fuss and a wee bit more attention. So we're just going to rub into the sternum. And this is something you can do in a sneaky way on the bus. Nobody needs to know that you're regulating your nervous system. As you walk in the office, as you stand next to the kettle. And then the next line we're going to do is this line here, where your ribs join the softness of your abdomen. And again, you might find that some ribs click. That's okay. Don't rub too hard. We're not like bone crushing here. You might find there are little points where you're like, oh, that is tender. And as we go along, you're going to try again to breathe deeply into the belly. Letting that breath flow. Paying attention to where feels good in your body. Paying attention to where feels sticky under your ribs. And we're just going to, another go, next battery warning. We're just going to take it again. Big, deep breath. All the way down into your belly. And you might find that just patting your belly as you breathe in allows you to connect more deeply to where you want that breath to come, the intentionality of it. And if you're doing this when you're sat down, you may find that you can feel your sit bones. So feeling your bones as they, pelvic bones, as they like touch the seat underneath you. And you may feel that your feet are like anchored into the ground a little more. You might feel the shoulders drop. You might feel your neck feel a little softer. You might even feel like your voice, when you start speaking again after this, your voice just feels a little bit more, little lower in tone, a little clearer, a little more intentional in your requests. Cool. Alrighty. So that is us for today. If you are curious about any of this and want to know more about how you can work with me, just give me a shout and let's have a chat. Diaphragm breathing is a tool for life. It doesn't have to be expensive or complicated to have really amazing feeling self-care. Come and join me for the next session. It'll be Monday morning at 8:30 a.m. UK time. And let's play a little more. All right, big love. See you later.